going to discuss peekaboo mechanics and the way uh, I think peekaboo is supposed to go based on what I from my research. Uh, I haven't had a lot of teaching on this. I learned a lot of all the slip bag stuff I learned from um, I forget his name, but um, Kyle Sands. He's English. He's an English guy. Anyways, but I know a lot. I've been doing this for like a long time, and I'm gonna teach everything that I know right now. So let's go ahead and switch this around. Okay, I'm gonna bring this in here a little bit like that. Let's see here. I'm actually gonna go up on this tripod a little bit. Okay. I hope everyone can hear me. I've got my DJI mic on. Yeah, I know everything's really ugly right now, but bear with me. It should be okay. It should be fine. Okay, let's try to center this bad boy. All right, let's go. All right, I hope you guys can hear me well. I'm using my DJI mic, mini mic. Mini mic, son. I am definitely not mini mic, but my nickname as growing up was Bruce Lee, not Tomahawk. My the name for all my social media channels, it's always Tomahawk. My brother's nickname was Tomahawk. Mine was Bruce Lee. My brother's real name is James, and he died in 2011, October 9th, 2011. And he died with the nickname Tomahawk. And I just knew somebody else was going to take it just because it sounds cool. And they were going to call themselves Tomahawk. And I'm going to have to live the rest of my life hearing somebody call themselves Tomahawk. And he's going to think he's so cool because his name is Tomahawk. And like everyone's going to forget my brother James. And they're just going to know about this person named Tomahawk who, self-proclaimed Tomahawk. No one even called him that. My brother actually earned the name. He got it from the homeboys. My brother was a Norteño, and the homies gave him that nickname. My nickname is Bruce Lee. Anyway, so here we go. So peekaboo. I hope you guys can see me well. Okay, so people are telling me about this hip hinge. How in order to get power, you need a hip hinge. So basically, like when you do deadlifts, hip hinge, or like bent, straight leg deadlifts, you hip hinge, right? And there was like showing like sprinters and not sprinters but high jumpers, how they would be like, and they would hip hinge, right? So obviously it must be correct, and Custom Auto doesn't know anything. Custom Auto is a genius. I'm sure he would have thought of something like that if that was the case. However, when I get power, hopefully I'm far enough away you guys can see me good. Power, baby. Yeah. To me, I've always said this, strength comes from the ground up. Power comes from the ground up. In those shows, Fight Science or whatever it's called, a lot of the times you'll see them with the graphic where it shows like energy coming out of the ground, and they like push with their legs, and the energy comes from the ground up, goes through their legs, up through the whole body, out through their fist or their kick or whatever, right? Power comes from the ground up. Okay, so I'm a certified squatter. No, and I'm also a martial artist. And so back in like 2013, when I really started grinding hard, I started doing squats. And I'm a certified squatter. I love squats. My deadlift, my sumo deadlift back in like 2018 was at around 500 for like 15. Okay, so that was my sumo. And then my squats around 2018 were about 435 pounds for 3 reps. But I did a lot of sumo deadlifting. At first, I started deadlifting sumo, right? I started using my legs. I was trying to get into the 1,000-pound club. Figure use my legs, the strongest body part. I'll get into the 1,000-pound club easier. So I had the strongest legs of anybody in the gym, strongest legs. If I was 6'2", like some of the other people, I'd be even bigger. I'd be even more powerful. I'll be squatting, easy 600 pounds. And deadlifting close, my deadlift was always at least 100 pounds more than my squat. So I'll be squatting deadlifting 700 and squatting 600. Anyways, power comes from the ground up, not from the hip hinge. So let's say if I want a hip hinge, right? I gotta go down right here. When you slip, you're not hip hinging. You're slipping all the way. So when you stand in a boxing fight, you don't stand like this, squared up, like a squat, hip hinge. You have like a more of a lunge stance, right? You got one foot in front of the other. Yeah, a power stance. And not only that, peekaboo, a lot of other people do this as well. We don't stand flat-footed on our heels. Back foot, heel is always up, okay? And you can't really get a lot of power from your hip hinge when your heel's up. I mean, you can put your hip down, put your heel down and gain that power. But I was watching Adrian Broner talk to the guy who wrestles on RAF, I forget his name, and he was showing him how to do the pull counter. He's telling him to keep his heel up, because when he comes back, it's like that heel is like a spring, and you spring back into the punch. So you're like, bah, it's like shoulder, boom, boom, right? Like the Philly shell. So I do peekaboo. I don't do Philly shell, but yeah. So basically, there's a reason why our stance is like this and not like this, and we're not going to hip hinge. We're not runners. We're not high jumpers. We're fighters. I don't think Cuss knew anything about high jumping. Okay. So now you want to have powerful legs. You want to have powerful legs. How much do you squat? If you look at Mike Tyson, I think he's a liar. I think you can't say it's lying. You have to say it's subterfuge, because he's not a liar. He's deceiving you. He's telling you not to do squats so that you won't do them. And if you don't do squats, you may not have the same power that he was able to get. But you've seen him do squats of 315 pounds in the gym, 315 pounds for reps. Boom, 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 boom. You don't need to do more than that. But to say that all your power comes from like hip hinging, it's like nonsense, bro. Absolute garbage. Tell George Foreman that. George Foreman was working hard. Mike Tyson, he didn't hip hinge. He slipped. So when you let's say if you want to throw a right hand, right? In a peekaboo, we always stand in an orthodox stance. We don't stand southpaw. Personally, I'm a JKD fighter and then a peekaboo fighter. I'm also a wrestler. So first, yeah, I would wrestle with my right leg, a right lead. I'm also a skateboarder. I skate goofy footed with a right lead. I surf, right lead. Everything I do is right lead. And when I first started learning about Bruce Lee, he taught to fight with your right hand, your power hand forward. And so naturally, I go power hand forward because Bruce Lee is literally the first person I ever learned to fight from. I don't consider wrestling fighting because you can get choked out real easy. Guillotine, double leg takedown. You put your head underneath their armpit. They're like, "Oh, thank you." You're right. Can't get your head out. So, a lot of there's a guy on YouTube. He goes by JKD Tyson, but he only does peekaboo, right? He does a southpaw stance as well, but he's orthodox and he's doing peekaboo. And like when you put your right hand, when you put your strong side forward, you put your strong leg forward as well. And I love the side kick. The side kick's my favorite technique, right? So you got my right leg in front here, boom. I like to put my right foot forward. When you see the Muay Thai guys fight, they fight, both stances, right? You see, forget his name, fight southpaw, right? My favorite Muay Thai fighter would be Samart Payakaroon. He's like the Bruce Lee of Muay Thai. He's a boxer too, so yeah, boxing is really important. But you'll see him do something called the Thai side kick, where it's like a teep that he turns. He'll do a side kick as well. And if you don't do that, the next best kick I think would be just a front push. I call it lead leg front push kick. A teep or a front kick would be this with a back foot. But when you're up here, you're just trying to keep him away. And it's almost like a jab. It's like you're measuring him, right? And if he gets too far, you turn your hip. You go for the side kick. I forget the guy from San Jose. I'll think of his name. His last name is Lee. Kung Lee, he would always do that side kick, spinning back fist. Always, just a great combination. So if you're over here, that's like the number 2 thing to do. From here, because sometimes, you know, the side kick doesn't have any effect, and they come right back at you. You know, what if someone does a side kick to you? You kind of get mad. You get closer, right? As soon as they get closer, they get close enough for that back fist, that spinning back fist. So that's Jeet Kune Do. Whenever I switch southpaw, I'm just gonna go on a rant. Whenever I switch southpaw, it's to box. When I fight orthodox, I'm right-handed. This is to do peekaboo, right? Peekaboo right here. Right here, southpaw. This is my boxing stance. Now I'm using Pernell Whitaker's fighting style. Pernell Whitaker. He's 5'5.5". He's the same height as me, basically the same weight. And I would study Pernell Whitaker because he's great for one, and we're the same size. So, okay, let me show you something I learned from Pernell Whitaker. Okay, Pernell Whitaker would have this combination right here: jab, cross, and he would step back diagonally to the left and do another jab, cross. And I was able to catch somebody in a sparring session using that combo from southpaw. And of course, you move your head or you move your feet, you know. Jab, cross, diagonal step left. They may step into you, but you're out of range. But as soon as they step in, they're in range for that jab and for the cross. So you're going to hit them 4 times pretty clean. So I don't just fight peekaboo. I've actually learned from a lot of people. A lot of the great fighters are actually the people who have won the Olympics. So Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Pernell Whitaker, Lennox Lewis, the guy who beat Tommy Morrison, Ray Mercer. Ray Mercer is an Olympic champion. I think George Foreman, Olympic champion. Mike Tyson, close. That's another discussion. But if you're gonna look up to fighters, you might as well look up to the Olympic champions and Mike Tyson and other people like Jack Dempsey, who was one of Mike Tyson's favorites, and Roberto Duran. Mike Tyson, when he's fighting on the inside, you can see him put his hands in, hook in. He's controlling the arms, you know. He's making sure he doesn't get hit. It's like sticky hands in Wing Chun. You know what I mean? Lop Sao. You're like, when he's trying to go for that punch, you like bring it up here. When Roberto Duran will be on the inside, he'd push one hand down, boom. He doesn't need no power, just boom. You know, this hand, boom, that hand too, you know. And he would do it a different way. He had different ways of fighting on the inside. Mike Tyson and Cuss knew all about that, and they worked that into the style as well. So anyways, back to the power. So sometimes you have to be smart about it. You can't just like, sometimes you're fighting a tall guy, and I don't know how you're going to be able to get that much power by like jumping up at him and stuff like that. But one thing to do is just to bob down, because when someone bobs down, you kind of have to like go down with them. You have to like get closer, and as soon as you get closer, you basically like use your legs. You got your back foot up as a spring, go down, and you spring. Use your leg. You use your leg power to get power in there. You know. All right. So somebody was telling me you have to hip hinge, like this. If I want to throw a right hand, I got a hip hinge, right? I guess they meant only the left hand or something, or I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But my problem with it is it puts you in a position like this, right? Mike Tyson's biggest weakness, if you can call it that, was a lead left uppercut that I forget his name. He got hit with it though. Bah! You know, I forget his name. He was a boxer. Mike Tyson kind of came in like that in a hinge, and he just got hit. Boom! You know what I mean? And Mike Tyson, when he fought the Joe Frazier's son, Joe Frazier was known for doing that. You know, and like getting hit with the uppercuts. And Mike Tyson just knew how to fight him. He just knew, like, he stayed off to the side and boom, he kept his head moving. He kept his head down by, jabbing. Boom, and then he timed it. Boom. Mike Cuss said, if if you stay close, he can't hit you with the uppercut if you stay close, which is true. But to me, it's better to gain power through your legs by bending and staying straight, your back straight, right? You want to keep your back straight. Then to hip hinge, So if you're like this, as soon as somebody does this, I'm like, cool, 5 to the body, 4 to the head, and a left hook, and then right cross if they're still standing. So you don't always want to go straight to the head. Sometimes, like Mike Tyson, he would go to the body, boom, and then their hands would come in, their elbows would come in, the hands would drop, and then boom, right uppercut. It's like, bah, bah. So as soon as he's going to try to get you to bring your hands down. And if you think hip hinging is the next best thing to get your power in, and you go to hip hinge, he's going to time you. I mean, if anybody drops their head like that, they're going to get timed. Okay. Now, it made me think of when Joe Frazier knocked down Muhammad Ali. Joe Frazier was basically like that, and he threw that monster left hook. Muhammad Ali dropped his hand. He was going to go for an uppercut, and instead of landing it, he got hit with the left hook. It was a little bit too slow. What he should have done was just a right cross. A right cross beats straight punches, beat hooks. You just got to boom, time him. He's probably going to throw the left hook, but you're already there, You're already there. Anyways, so they say hip hinge so you can jump high. I don't believe that. I'm not trying to jump high. So here, if you bring your knee, if you bob enough, he's gonna have to come down to reach you, right? And as soon as he does that, you're in a position to throw a left hook. Okay, so another way to get power in your punches is something called the drop step. Something that Jack Dempsey taught. He learned it from the old timers. Read it in his book, Championship Fighting. What it is basically you're like falling forward, right? And from here you could rope it up. But the whole hip hinge, the whole hip hinge comes from the slipping. So they think slipping's a hip hinge. So here you go. And Mike slips all the way. So my body should be like this, right? And on the other side, but that's not hip hinging. He's literally pushing his butt out and going. But it's like he's on a plane. He's right here. He's not going forward. So really, he's not hip hinging. He's slipping, and this is not bobbing and weaving. This is bobbing and weaving. Keep your head up, chin tucked, hands under your eyes, elbows in, eyes up and out. And we get to the side. So if I was to weave like this, I'd be getting hit. I can't see either. Looking down, trying to look up. Doing this is much easier, much better. This is peekaboo. Whatever anyone else does that they're calling peekaboo, but they call this, if they're doing peekaboo and they're calling this bobbing and weaving, they're not doing peekaboo. They're doing whatever they want to do. This is slipping, right? When somebody throws a straight punch, you slip. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. After your last punch, slip or move your feet. You know, move your feet. And I always move my head too. It's just something I've gotten used to. So, you know, I'm not a big guy. I have never had a problem knocking people out. You know, the reason why is because because of my Jeet Kune Do training. I learned from Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee has in his book where he has somebody stand in front of a punching bag and turn your hips all the way and use your elbow. Turn this one all the way. You twist your hips all the way over. Boom, boom. And you get a stick. Let's see if I can find a stick really quick. Here, I found one. You get a stick, right? You do this. This is you putting your whole hip into it. When Bruce Lee said put your whole hip into it, that's what he meant. You know? Your whole hip. Right here. Hip. You put it. So I put all my weight into all my punches. Let's start with the jab. It's a little bit different than the other punches. I'm going to do it from southpaw. I have a better southpaw jab. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to incorporate the feet. Like if you watch some of Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do videos, he says to incorporate more of the feet. You'll see him really use his feet, you know, and that's what I do too. And it has to be straight. This is called the vertical fist, right? This is something that Jack Dempsey taught, and I think Bruce Lee probably learned it from Jack Dempsey or some of the old school fighters. But Jack Dempsey taught to land with the ring knuckle, vertical fist, and a type of a drop step, right? But you want to put your whole body into it, so you want to incorporate your feet. When you incorporate your feet, you put your hip into it. And it's like your toes are facing forward, and when you put your hip into it, your toes are facing backwards. And so it takes practice. I tried everything I could do to learn from Bruce Lee. I even broke my back like him. No, I broke my back on accident in March 2025, but I like that joke. I think it's funny. I made that up. Yeah, I was trying to be like Bruce Lee. I even broke my back just to be like him. So I've been out of training for at least 2 months because I haven't done nothing. Maybe like 3 months. I haven't done nothing. And but I'm getting back into training. And I wanted to make this video because people don't know what they're talking about. I literally started Peekaboo around 2012, 2013. And there was nobody to learn from. Who was I going to learn from? Mike Tyson? Please, he doesn't teach anybody. He didn't teach Francis Ngannou until like 2022. And Kevin Rooney, they don't teach anybody. But I learned the Peekaboo, I learned the slip bag from Kyle Sands. Like I said earlier, he's an English guy. And he's a great teacher. I learned a lot from him. And you can actually learn a little bit more nowadays from other people who got interested in it. But everything I learned has been, I gained it before, like, you know, before COVID. Before COVID hit, I was already doing Peekaboo. I already like mastered it, so, but not complete mastered, because who am I going to learn from? You know, I don't have a teacher. I have my basically self-taught. The way I learned Jeet Kune Do is the same way I learned, basically the same way I learned Peekaboo. I learned from Bruce Lee's books, and I learned Peekaboo from like, well, Kyle Sands mostly. Because the thing about the slip bag is it carries off into your fighting. So when Kyle Sands taught to the slip bag comes up to your chin, right? You start off by pushing it and then bobbing down. You know, you push and bob, and then you try to get off to the left side. You don't try, you do. So you push, bob down, left side. Always in an orthodox stance. We don't fight in southpaw. We do, but we don't start out on southpaw. What happens is sometimes we want to get to the left, to the, it would be like the right side of your opponent. It'd be behind his power hands, his right hand. Say we're fighting an orthodox fighter. I might try to get to his side right here, right? So he might want to throw a punch there. He might even want to throw a left hook from there, but I'm just too far away from him. And from here, I'm in southpaw. Look, I'm southpaw, right foot forward, left foot back. And from here, left cross. All right, correct? He's like, and then right hook, or you could right hook, right? You could do right hooks. You could do right uppercuts, right hooks. You just go off, right? So that's how we get into southpaw. We do fight southpaw. If we're right here, we're not going to be like, oh, okay. No. From there, we fight southpaw. And sometimes we get turned around. And the only good punch, the only great punch to throw would be like the right hook, even though you're not southpaw. But that's the perfect punch. So you throw that thing, you know what I mean? That's the science of fighting, is to be able to hit your opponent where you can hit him, but he can't hit you. That's what the science of boxing is all about. When you can hit and not get hit, you're a fighter. So that's what Customato said. And I can go to the other side. And from here, I'm right-handed. So right cross, you know, always keep your hands up. Left hook, you know. And then, but yeah. And when it comes to power, don't worry about it too much. Sometimes you just want to get your opponent tired, you know. Get him tired. And then once he's tired, then you could, you know, do a job on him, you know. That's how the hyenas do it. They wait till the fighters are tired, and then they sneak in when the fighters are tired, and they steal the prey. They steal the victory. But so don't get tired. Stamina, you know, you always want to have last-minute stamina, like Muhammad Ali said. The will must outdo the skill, must overcome the skill. Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier were equally willed, but Muhammad Ali had more skill, and that got him the victory. When two people are equally willed, the greater skilled person will win. Knowledge is power, baby. But basically, yeah. So power, don't worry about it too much. Once your opponent gets tired, you don't even have to hit him hard. You just have to land, you know. But yeah, you know, try to get them to throw your punches and move. You know, just move. Hold on to them. You know, I gotcha. Muhammad Ali would hold on to people, right? But yeah. So I don't believe in the hip hinge. I don't even know. You know, this isn't deadlifting. I love deadlifting, but I'm more of a squatter, and I had powerful legs. I had super powerful legs. That's from all the sumo deadlifting and all the squatting I did. I did a lot of that, and I just know that none of my power came from a hip hinge. No way. Not even in my kicks. Like when you kick, how are you gonna hip hinge? Okay, for only boxing. So for certain boxing styles, I guess they use a hip hinge, but I don't use it. But that's peekaboo. I'll probably do a lot more videos coming up. But also like Jeet Kune Do, JKD. Like I said, I'm a side kicker. I'm gonna tell you some of my little secrets. Tekken has a fighter that looks like Bruce Lee. His name is Forrest Law or something like that. And there's a combo he uses. He just boom side kicks. He just boom, boom, just like relentless with it. Side kick over side kick. That's how I would fight. So many side kicks, like 10, 100, you know, 10 a minute. Boom, you know, and then jumping side kicks, flying side kicks, side kicks to the head. You know what I mean? So side kicks all day, right? And then I like to stick with the bread and butter, but I do fight southpaw, so it's kind of hard to. I fight two styles, so orthodox and southpaw. So from southpaw, I love the crow cop. I call the head kick crow cop. After Mirko crow cop, I just go crow cop. Bah. All right, crow cop. Crow cop. Okay. I don't even practice that. But the idea is to practice it so you can't even see it. I prefer to do it with the leg in front. And the idea is to practice it so much and to get it down so good that you could do it, the kick, in between a heartbeat. Okay? Just between a heartbeat. Bruce Lee has a quote. When the opponent expands, I contract. When the opponent contracts, I expand. And when there is an opportunity, I do not hit. It hits all by itself. Is that the one I was thinking of? I don't know, but no, rest like a mirror, respond like an echo. I don't know where I'm going with that. I was trying to think of a quote. It's one where you have a poker face, right? Correct? The next thing you know is just this fastest round kick that you could ever imagine. Like I haven't trained in a while, but I used to train that for a little bit. I used to train that a little bit to stand here and to get it in between a heartbeat. You know, maybe you should have a resting heartbeat first before your heart starts. So give that about a year of practice, just in between a heartbeat. Try to go for a whole year, just training it every day. Right, and eventually you're gonna get so good. Maybe if you hook up like an ankle thing to a cable, you work on your leg strength, so that you could do it without even changing your expression. You're just poker face, and then poof, they get knocked out, and you're just standing there like nothing happened. Like, whoa, that was you. You want the reaction to be like, whoa, that was so fast, we can't even see it. It was blinding. You know, you might kill a guy if it's that fast though, but I don't know. But so instead of like crow cop, you do the Bruce Lee, you know? And I can do that with both legs, right? And then from southpaw, obviously, probably faster with my right leg than my left leg because I'm right leg, right arm dominant. But either way, doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's Jeet Kune Do. Jeet Kune Do is like a lot of Taekwondo. You know, Taekwondo's got great kicks. You know, so it's Jeet Kune Do is Kung Fu, and Kung Fu is everything. Kung Fu is Muay Thai. And when, like I said, I like the bread and butter, so I like low kicks. Low kick, baby. Just give me one low kick on somebody. Just one. One low kick will break somebody's leg. One low kick will end a fight. One low kick will beat somebody so good. And it's just one move. You know, it don't have to have a high kick. It doesn't have to be flashy. It's just boom, over, you know? And if you're not good at it, let's say you're not good at low kicks, you end up like Conor McGregor with a broken shin, right? So for people who don't want to work Muay Thai a lot, you don't have to low kick. Like I like the side kick, you know? The back kick from here, it seems to just be that perfect kick for that liver. You know what I mean? There's a liver kick, and then there's that back kick. It's just so good. It's so good. That back kick is mwah. Well, I'm a student of martial arts, and back in the day, I had seen fighting with Alan Niglani. He's a black guy. He's like ripped, and another guy is another great guy. He's another great fighter. His name is I forget his name, but there's some great fighters. His last name is Matt Yushchenko or something like that. I forgot I was going with that. I forgot what I was talking about. But so I can't read your guys' comments. I got my phone facing me, so I can't read anybody's comments. I don't even know what my screen looks like right now. Okay, so I started training in Jeet Kune Do, training myself. Southpaw, bro. I did it so much I brainwashed myself. This is how I stand naturally. This is how I fight naturally. But when I really want to hit somebody hard, I switch to Southpaw. I mean, I switch to Orthodox because I'm right-handed. And I find Going back to the power thing. So I was talking about using your legs, but I also forgot about the slip. So when we throw our left hooks, we don't throw it from right here. We slip to the side first, and then from right here, you got all this energy right here. This right here becomes power, and you just like you pull, and just to slip will increase your power. Just slipping. This isn't a hinge. This is a slip. A hinge would be like forward, you know. I mean, you guess you can call it a hinge, but it's without a doubt a slip. Because when someone throws a left hook, you can see Mike Tyson do this. He'll slip all the way, and that right hand will go by, boom, and just the craziest left hook knockout you've ever seen, right? Just like power from like another world. Send that guy to the shadow realm. They throw the right hook, and you slip all the way over, just in case they throw like a jab cross. You're really slipping the jab cross, right? And once it goes over your head, you come back, boom, with the left hook. Because usually people will take a picture. They'll throw a punch, they'll throw the combo, bah, 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 and take a picture. And as soon as they go to take the picture, don't get caught taking pictures. Okay, so they like to throw the jab cross, boom, or left hook. If you want to time the left hook, you could end up over here. Right hook, cross, left hook, right cross. And then try to get behind them and throw that perfect punch after, or throw a bomb after it. Every time you get to the side or behind, it's the time to throw the hardest punch you could possibly bring. Some people will throw like, I don't know, body shot first, and then a headshot or whatever, or just straight to the headshot. So yeah, even if you slip right here, like the amount of power I could bring is a lot more when I incorporate my hips, my feet, my hips, my whole body into it, right? Than it is if I'm gonna stand right here, right? It's not a check hook. This hook will take your head off and send it into the 18th row, you know? And the bigger you are, the harder you hit. So it's like if you get a big guy and you get him to slip and he just like, I mean, that's how you want to throw when you hit those bags at the, arcades, whatever. Basically, this is how you do it. You turn your shoulders, your hips, and you turn it the other way. You twist it all the way one way, and you twist it all the way. Twist this way. And that's where the power comes from in Taekwondo, is the centrifugal force, the spinning motion, like a tornado. It increases your power, right? And so just to twist your hips one way, is the power is way better. So whoever says you gotta like hinge, save it for the gym, for your deadlifts and stuff. Here, a lot of power comes from speed. So it's like a bullet, right? It's not the size of the bullet that kills you. It could be it could be a small caliber bullet, but it's the speed of it that kills you. So to gain power, it's not just hinging, it's speed. Speed of the devil, baby. Sugar Ray Leonard speed, Mike Tyson speed, Muhammad Ali speed, Bruce Lee speed. I'm talking fast, bro. Fast. I'm talking like, I forgot the Mexican guy, Ryan Garcia, his left hook. Ooh, he's fast. He goes, I am speed. I am speed. Good for you. But speed, baby. Speed kills. So speed, you always want to try to increase your speed. Everybody uses little weights, little dumbbells, right? Shadow box with those, drop them. Shadow box without them, pick them up again. Shadow box, it increases your hand speed and your power, and it keeps your hands up from dropping. But you really got to work on your speed, your reflexes. When somebody throws a jab, you slip it and you counter right away. It's the speed of which you do things that and the violence in which you do them, it increases your power. So it's not just hip hinge. Sometimes it's psychological. It's like if you hit somebody you like, you're probably not gonna hit them hard unless you're professional. But if you hit somebody you hate with all your heart, not only can you hit him a lot harder, you can sustain it for a lot longer. So a lot of times in fights, you're just trying to like use psychology. Like Mike Tyson said that Joe Frazier would fight for his family, fight for his, you know, his mother, his sister, or whatever. He found a reason to fight, and you really want to have that um, the reason to fight, to hit hard, to want to kill somebody. You know, you want to put the pain on him, and you want to yeah, you want to knock him out. You don't want to knock him out, but it's gonna happen if you use that speed and that type of mentality. And straight punches are faster than round punches. Um, but also round punches can be fast as well, you know. So speed of the devil, bad intentions. I always train like I'm trying to fight somebody I hate. Like my brother got killed. The guy who killed my brother is always the guy I'm fighting, you know. In the Counts of Monte Cristo, the priest asked Edmund while they were in prison, "Who are you fighting?" Uh, he said a couple of names that people that Edmond Dantes is angry at, and Edmund replies, "Who do you think?" He was fighting all of them. In his mind, he was fighting them. And he was using that mentality, that psychology to become better, faster, meaner, more aggressive. So fight your enemies in your training. Fight people you don't like. Fight the devil. When I was training, I got pretty strong, and one of the things I would do is I would think about my brother. And I just did a lot of squatting and deadlifting and bench press, powerlifting, and every single exercise I did, I was like, if I could bring my brother back with this one bench or this one squat or one deadlift, and if I had one chance, and I gave it hell, man. I gave it hell. I gave it everything I got. I was willing to die, and I was willing to kill or be killed. A lot of times, people get injured squatting heavy or deadlifting heavy. They hurt their backs or something, and I always knew, there's a chance I'm gonna break my back here if I don't focus. But no matter what, I don't care if I drop the weight, if I embarrass myself. I was always willing to do whatever it took to bring James back. And so that's what I did. Year after year, I was always to bring James back. One lift, one round, 1 minute. Whenever you're the most tired, when you're the most exhausted, what's going to keep you going? What is it that will keep you motivated? You have to give yourself an excuse to win, you know? And I just knew that the only hope I had was when I got tired is to keep going. The only way, let's say you're so tired you can't go no more. There's no hope then. If you just quit, you just give up right there, you ain't going to get back up. So, I always got back up. I did whatever it took. I did whatever it took to get up. A lot of it was just psychology, just fighting for my brother. Just, if I'm so exhausted, could I keep going? If I could bring my brother back, And well, hell yeah. And then that's all it took. You know what I mean? And little by little, year after year, I got stronger and stronger. And it wasn't just because I'm a power lifter or because I was like 25 and 27 years old or something in my prime. It was because I loved my brother, and I would do anything to bring him back. And yeah, man, this is what I do. Martial arts is what I do. I don't care about nothing else. I care about the truth more than I care about martial arts and stuff, but like, I don't want to be like a real saint, like an apostle, you know what I mean? I want to be Alexander the Great. I want to be a killer. I want to be a very mean person. I want to be a winner. I want to conquer the whole world. I want to be Bruce Lee. You know, I want to be the best. I don't want to be nice. I mean, I do. I'm a nice person, but should I just give up martial arts? You know, like, oh, I can't fight no more because I'm just a good person. I'm a monk. I'm a monk now. I can't fight. Um, I don't want to be like perfect. You know, I want to tell the truth, and I want to be myself. And I am a fighter. Period. I started wrestling when I was 4 years old. My first wrestling tournament was when I was 5 years old. I just turned 5 years old, and I got second place. I got second place because somebody matched me up with a kid who weighed a little bit more than I did, and he was a better wrestler than I am. But I would have got first place in my first tournament. And by the time I was 11, I was a freestyle state champion. By the time I got into high school, I was already so good. All the kids that I grew up with as freshmen, Louis Bland and Trevor Machado Ching, they were state champions as freshmen. And I didn't wrestle until my junior year in high school. I hated wrestling. Wrestling was something my stepdad put us in, and I hated him too. So I said screw wrestling. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do a sport that reminds me of somebody I hate. But and I forgot about all those great wrestlers: Louis Bland, Billy Murphy, Trevor. I just totally forgot about them for like 3 years straight. But every year, from freshman to sophomore to junior year, the coach at Waterford High School would come find me and be like, "Hey, wrestle for me, wrestle for me." I'm like, "No." I never explained myself either why I didn't want to wrestle. I just told him no. And then in my junior year, 3 years in, he came back again. I was like, I'm impressed now. This guy came back, and so I wrestled for him, and I did pretty good. And I think the only real person who was better than me my weight class was Billy Murphy. And that's only because he was my childhood like hero. I kind of looked up to him, even though he was shorter than me. We all wrestled freestyle the same. We all grew up in freestyle wrestling together, going to the different tournaments. And he would wrestle like this. He would put one hand on his thigh, and he'd be like this. And I was watching him one day, and I was watching him wrestle, and he did that. You know what I mean? He's like, he had a stance like this, and then I got called up to wrestle, and when I started to wrestle, and I shook hands, good luck. I got into the same stance he was in, and then after my match, I was like, okay, cool, and I think I won. The next thing you know, Billy Murphy's walking up to me, he's shaking my hand. All right, brother, he shook my hand. I was like, yes. Well, I wrestled this guy in junior at subsections, and we were paired up actually at a meet. Me and Billy Murphy, we were paired up at a meet in Houston, but he didn't make weight. My only excuse is that I would have beat him at subsections if I would have wrestled him at the meet, because I was so afraid of him. This guy was my hero. As I was a little kid and he was a little kid, he was my hero. Okay, he was like, he didn't know me for very much, but anyways, so it was my turn to wrestle this guy. Somebody told me he was undefeated. And I'm thinking, oh, for 3 years this guy's been undefeated? He'd only been undefeated that year. Like his junior year, he went undefeated. His senior year, he went undefeated. But I assumed he was undefeated for 3 seasons. I was like, this motherfucker. Like, I ain't gonna beat this guy. There's no way. And I went in there defeated. Everybody else I demolished. I'm like, I'm gonna kill everybody. I trained harder. I want this more than you do. I've been doing this longer than you have. And I was just huffing and puffing. I smoked everybody. I'm sure somebody has the videos of me wrestling in subsections when I wrestled Billy Murphy in the finals, but I don't have it. But you can watch it. I smoked everybody, teched everybody. Even the guy in the semifinals, he had these socks kind of here, high socks. He looks muscular and he looked bad, but I was mad. I was about to lose to nobody except Billy Murphy, of course. And so I whooped his butt. And I was pissed the whole fight, bro. The whole match, I was, hey, he's stalling, ref, he's stalling. Because he kind of got frustrated. He kind of stayed on the ground for like 2 seconds, like 1, 2. And I was like, ref, he's stalling. He's stalling. I didn't care how tired I got, bro. You would have to kill me to beat me. And towards the end of the match, I had him in a wizard, right? And I had seen this move before. And it popped into my mind. I got this guy in a wizard, my right arm over his left arm. And I go underneath him, and I bring him over and put him on his back. You know what I mean? I'd only seen the move done. I'd never done it before. Never practiced it. Never nothing. I was just pissed, and I was like just going off all, just impulsive, just like this thought, boom, just single push downs, pull, leg, just anything I could do to hurt this guy, to beat him. Not physically hurt. I wasn't like punching or elbowing. I was wrestling, single, double, high crotch, whatever. And then whatever popped into my head, I just did it. I was just trying to just win. And towards the end, we were like on the ground, got this guy in a wizard. I had to put myself in a precarious position where my back is actually exposed, but I'm in control, so he doesn't get points. And so at any point right here, he could just stack me. I could go for the throw, and he could be like, nope, and pin me right there, right? Because my back is right there. I've got him by a wizard, and I'm going under. And while I'm going under, he has a chance to pancake me right there. And I was afraid of it, but I wasn't scared of it. So I did it anyways. Worked like a charm first time. Last time I ever did that move. Put him on his back. So I'm a wrestler. I do JKD. I do peekaboo. I've probably been in more street fights than everybody watching this video. My first street fight was when I was like 11 years old. It was when I was supposed to be a 7th grader, but I got held back. So I was in 6th grade again. I went for the double. I went for a punch, missed. Went for the double, picked him up. Boom, dropped him, picked him up again. Another slam. I slammed him 4 times. And he didn't do nothing. He was just holding on. So I let him go because I'm pretty sure I hurt that guy. And then from then on out, I just got into a lot of street fights just to practice my Jeet Kune Do. And I didn't wrestle everybody. Nowadays, a lot of people just wrestle. But back then, I tried to use kickboxing because everybody boxed. When you fight somebody, it was always box. You gonna box this guy? You gonna box? Yeah, yeah. And so I would kick. I always kick. And people didn't like me kicking. People don't like me wrestling. But whatever. I came there to win. And so I would kick. I would punch. I would wrestle. If I got into a bad position, I would have to wrestle, right? So I don't know. So I've been in a lot of fights. I started wrestling when I was 4 or 5 years old. I grew up with the best wrestlers of my generation, and I beat Louis Bland one time. To me, he's like Sugar Ray Robinson, and I'm like Jake LaMotta. I beat him one time, baby. But it was good. It was a good victory for me because Louis Bland at that time, we were in like middle school, maybe elementary or something, and he might have been in 6th grade. I don't know, but just a regular tournament. He was wearing his blue singlet, stars, American singlet, American flag singlet, and I beat him easy. I could have pinned him, but he's my friend. You know what I mean? I don't pin my friend, and so I just won on points. Victory's a victory, doesn't matter. So he was he was a 3-time state champion in freestyle. I mean, in high school, 3-time state champion in high school, and he's like a 5-time state freestyle champion. And he's like I don't know how many state champions they have in freestyle, but they must have a lot. Because I have 3. I have a 1st, a 2nd, and a 3rd place state championship. I have a trophy and 2 medals. I have a 3rd place, I have a 1st place, and I have a 2nd place. And they must have like 10 They must have 10 state championships from the freestyle before they even got into high school. And that's who I grew up with when it comes to wrestling. And I'm 36 right now. If I hadn't broken my back, and if I was able to continue training the way I was doing before, I would think of myself as the greatest wrestler in the entire world right now. Because my experience, for one. 2, I was deadlifting 500 pounds, squatting 400 pounds, and my bench press was 315 pounds, and I'm only weighing 175 pounds. I'm actually having more calories in me to get to that strength. I could have dropped down to 165 or 160 or 155 and still been squatting 425 and deadlifting 500. My sumo deadlift should have been about 600, but I stopped doing sumo to work on my conventional because conventional is way cooler, duh. And Please, bro, who's gonna beat me at wrestling? Like, give me a break, bro. You know, it didn't work out that way, but it would have been that way. And I don't know. You know, not too many wrestlers who could say that they were state champions in California, because California's got a lot of people. And by the time they were 11 years old, not everybody could say that. Not everybody can say that they started wrestling when they were 5 years old, but I can. You know, I'm one of a kind. And then I started studying Jeet Kune Do at 10 or 11, right? Jeet Kune Do. We got a state champion practicing Jeet Kune Do. And then getting into street fights, getting into gangs to practice it. He's like a fucking state champion getting into street fights just to practice. Like, who does that? I did that. And then I got into peekaboo in 2012, around 2012, 2013. It might have been 2013. So that means I've been doing peekaboo for 13 years now, not 14, excuse me. But, you know, I was doing it when it wasn't popular. I was doing it when there wasn't anybody teaching it. And now it's popular. You know, Customato is a genius. So I always tell people about the mind and the emotions, fear. Like, you know, fear is, you know, what's the difference between a hero and a coward? You know, there ain't no difference between a hero and a coward. On the outside, they look exactly the same. On the inside, they're both scared of dying and getting hurt. You know, you're scared. On the inside, so is the other guys. The hero is just as frightened as a coward, but the hero has the discipline to go through with it. You know, like they say, being scared courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyway, right? You're scared to death. All of my fights, I could tell you, I was afraid. All of my street fights, I was afraid. All of my wrestling matches, I was nervous. But I was a great wrestler, and I'm undefeated in street fights. I had a black eye one time. I guess you could say I lost one fight. It was a much older guy. I was like 14, and he weighed like 200 pounds. He was like 18. I was 14, like 135 pounds. And he just put all of his weight on top of me, and I got a black eye. I was fighting the big guy, and my brother was fighting the little guy. It was kind of funny. My brother was over there beating up this guy. I'm like, James, quit fucking that guy up. Come over here and help me. So yeah, we got into a lot of fights, and no big deal though. You know, yeah. So that's me. I'm Robert Perez. My nickname growing up was Bruce Lee. If I was to pick a fighter name, it wouldn't be Tomahawk. Because people are already calling themselves that. What I noticed is that although there was one or two people who called themselves Bruce Lee, they no longer fight in MMA. And Bruce Lee is a nickname that is available at the moment, I think. And so I'll just go back to Bruce Lee. You know, I would love to take up the mantle for Bruce Lee. You know, Bruce Lee was looking for the truth in martial arts, and so am I. I'm trying to master the martial arts, not so much as be cool or like win an MMA fight. I'm trying to master the martial arts, like a master, you know. I'm using, you know, I've got my wrestling, my I've got Bruce Lee and Customato and wrestling behind me, you know. The greatest minds in martial arts, Cus and Bruce Lee. Those are my trainers. A lot of the great fighters you see today or yesterday, they didn't become great fighters because they had a natural ability. They had great trainers. Muhammad Ali's first trainer was Angelo Dundee. Mike Tyson's first trainer was Customato. Imagine what they would be like without a trainer. You know, no trainer. Jack Dempsey, no trainer. Joe Louis, no trainer. Sugar Ray Robinson, no trainer. They just did it on their own, on themselves. They wouldn't have been nearly as great as they are. You know, you need a great trainer for one. And I have two great trainers. I have Bruce Lee and I have Customato. Customato taught a lot about the mind and the emotions, like fear and how to overcome fear. I'm always scared. And I know people are always trying to like put fear on me, try to make me feel afraid because they feel afraid, right? And they think people are doing it to them. And they're so shaky. I don't know what they say, what they try to do. They try to make it so that they don't feel fear, right? Like, I'm not afraid. Well, I am, you know, but I still haven't lost a fight. You know, I might be going in and shaking like a leaf, but I'm probably way better. I'm just making it so much worse than it really is, you know. You know. But either way, you know, maybe I'm just afraid to lose. Maybe it's my way of like getting prepared for the fight so I can, you know, win. You know, maybe I'm not afraid to lose. Maybe I just want to win that bad. You know, but scared. Please get the hell out of here, bro. You know, I have a saying: don't get tired. When you fight me, don't get tired. Because I'm like Nate Diaz. You know, you're gonna have to pack a lunch when you fight me. You know, I come prepared. When I was wrestling, I was running 5 miles before my wrestling practices. I wake up when I was training recently. I was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning, so I can be ready, stretched out, warmed up, have my drink water, take my supplements, and be out the door by 4:15, 4:20, and go get that runner's high. You know, 4:20. I did that for years, running at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? Some people run at 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, good for you. I run at 4, you know. And Mike Tyson ran at 4 o'clock, so it's like I have stamina, you know. I was running upwards of 8 miles. I would run for 1 hour. I would run upwards to 8 miles. I was overdoing it. And then I would work out all day. I would come home, do my abs, do like push-ups and abs, right? You know, Mike Tyson, he would come home, he would do push-ups, he would do his abdominal exercises, and afterward, he'd watch boxing. You know, he'd just put on some boxing, some of his old videos. That's what I would do. I would just copy Mike, copy Cuss. Actually, do what Cuss said, because Cuss is the master. Cuss, you know, has everybody run at 4, not Mike, you know, or run at 5. And so I ran at 5. I would come here, push-ups and sit-ups, you know, do like 200 each. And then I have a high-intensity interval training that I like to do by George St. Pierre. There's like 3 of them. There's a strength and conditioning, there's strength and endurance, and there's a core conditioning. I do 1 each a day. So like strength and endurance is my favorite, and then core, because strength and conditioning is almost like strength and endurance. So I'll do 1 each, and then I'll start over. Strength and endurance, core, and conditioning, 6 days a week. I would do this as often as, so I can't run 6 days a week. For some reason, my knees get all messed up running that much. And so I would build up to it, you know. I run 1 day, take a day off. Run day, take a day off. The next week I'd run 2 days in a row, and then take a day off. And then like 2 days, run 2 days in a row, and then take a day off. And then the next week I'd run 3 days in a row, maybe take 2 days off, and then run 3 days, 2 days. I do whatever I need to do to build my body up to be able to run 6 days a week, up to between 5 and like 8 miles a day, right? So, and then I would come home and push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups and air squats. I do something called the Fantastic Four pull-ups, air squats, push-ups, and sit-ups. You do that continuously for like 25 minutes, 30 minutes. You know, just doing body weight exercises. I would just work out the whole freaking day, man. That's all my, like Bruce Lee would do. Chuck Norris said Bruce Lee's life was physical conditioning. That's my life too. Like Cuss and Bruce Lee, that's where I get all my inspiration from. And yeah, man, just condition. Like, good luck. You know, trying to make me tired. I'm a wrestler, you know. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, and I was strong from head to toe. I would do like neck exercise. You know, I would do the bridges, you know, all the neck exercises. I had my biceps were powerful. I could curl 135 for like 10, or okay, no, not 10, but I could do it for like 4 straight, and then like cheat 2 or 3, 7. Curl overhead presses 135 was no problem. You know, I could do 145 for maybe 10. Man, I was doing behind the neck presses. I had powerful shoulders, powerful biceps and triceps. I could do dips with like 100-pound. I could have like 3 45-pound plates in between my legs and do dips with that. Man, I do dips with all kinds of weight. I was powerful. And so I had made a mistake when I had heard Dan and Santos say him and Bruce Lee were going past Muscle Beach, and one of the guys came out of the Dan or whatever they called it, out of the door, and Danny points to the muscle guy. He goes, "Bruce Lee, what about that guy? You know, you think you could take him, or do you think he's powerful?" Or Danny Inosanto said something, and Bruce Lee says, "Yeah, but is he powerful?" And I thought he meant like squats and deadlifts, because you know, bodybuilders, they lift lightweight and do like a lot of repetitions and drop sets, and sometimes like Ronnie Coleman, he would really put on the heavyweight, but they would mostly just do like lighter weights. You know, bodybuilders do light weights. And so Bruce Lee goes, well, is he powerful? And I thought maybe like, is he able to squat, 900 pounds? Is he as powerful as he looks? But Bruce Lee meant power in his punches. Like having big arms doesn't mean your punches are going to be harder. It doesn't mean you're going to have a powerful punch just because you can curl 300 pounds or something, right? You have like the highest strict curl. You curl 1,000 pounds or something strict. That doesn't mean you're going to punch hard. And so I just kind of got confused, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna start doing powerlifting, So I did powerlifting for a while, and I got really powerful. And then it doesn't increase your punching power. It doesn't increase your kicking power. It doesn't make you a more powerful martial artist. It makes you a more powerful wrestler, though. The Russian guy. There was a Russian guy who was like undefeated. He had lost his first match and his last match to Roland Gardner. I forget the Russian guy's name. Muscular, big muscle guy. What I'm trying to say is he was strong, and it was because of his strength that he was going to beat you at wrestling. It wasn't because he could box good or because he can, kick faster than the speed of light. Is because his legs are stronger than you, because his back is stronger than you, his arms are stronger than you, and he doesn't get tired. This guy's got stamina for days. So, and he's been wrestling since he was like a boy. So it's like the stamina, the strength, and the experience made him an unbeatable fighter, unbeatable wrestler. And maybe he could have beaten Fedor. Maybe he could have beaten Fedor. But we'll never know. But yeah, so I became strong in order to help my wrestling, because I wanted to, I just thought the power would come in handy for a fighter, and for a wrestler it would come in handy for me, because being able to squat 425 pounds means that I could take any guy 400 pounds and squat him 10 times, because I could squat 405 pounds 10 times, right? So just being under somebody, like, good luck, trying to stop me. I'm going to pick you up even if you weigh 400 pounds, so it's like, and I had strong arms, strong back, strong everything. Anyways, I'm just going on a rant here. Everything I say is true. Nothing I say is trying to make me look good. I was thinking about that earlier, and I was thinking, if I wanted to make myself look good, I would just tell everybody how I go running at 4 o'clock in the morning, like Mike Tyson, for 1 hour, while all of you people are sleeping. I've already got my first workout in, and then I come home and I'm already doing push-ups and sit-ups, doing my second workout before you guys. So if I wanted to show off, I could, but I'm not going to, because like everything I say would be showing off. Oh, I started wrestling when I was 5. Oh, I started practicing Jiu-Jitsu when I was 10. Oh, I started learning peekaboo on my own when I was 22 or something. I've been doing it for 14 years. Like, okay, it's all true, but whatever. If it makes me look cool, then I don't care, because I don't care about cool people. I just care about the truth. Like, the truth in martial arts is something that Bruce Lee was after, something that I'm after. And I just want to master the martial arts like Bruce Lee. I got hurt. COVID-19 happened from 20 to 23 or 24. And that was part of my prime. I was like 31 years old or 30 years old in 2019. 2019, I was between 29 and 30, and then 2020 came, I was like 30, 31. And I never had money growing up, but and then in like 2025, I say I broke my back because it's so bad. So I say I broke my back. You can see me doing these back stretches, like I'm trying to, like, I'm always in pain. I got pain in my lower back constantly. But like Bruce Lee had a bad back. He didn't complain. I'm not complaining. People fought with one eye while they were sick. I got no reason to complain. So I'm just going to try to come back from it. I lost all my power. Just all my strength is gone. But it takes time. All it takes is time. All I need is like 2 years of straight training to really get back into to having power in my legs, power in my hips, power in my shoulders. I want to be able to do overhead press 135 again for reps for 10. I want to be able to bench 315 again. I want to beat all my records. I want to come back and become stronger than I ever have before. But the way I got that before, I was training between the ages of 22 to 30. That's my prime, bro. Prime. Some people try to do that in their 40s or 50s, and I don't know how they do that, bro. Like trying to get super strong. You know, I was able to do that because I was in my 20s. You know, like 25 years old, 26, I was at my strongest. 27, stronger still. Some of those times I didn't have any money for a gym membership though, so I kind of like, I don't know, how to work out at my aunt's house because she had like an outdoor gym set. And then I got kicked out of there, so I was just like trying to find places to work out. And then COVID-19 hit and then kind of screwed up everything. So yeah, sidekick, Jeet Kune Do, peekaboo, wrestling, stamina. Those are the things I'm going to leave you with. I love the sidekick. I love Jeet Kune Do. I love peekaboo. The slip bag was pretty cool. You really want to have that stamina. You want to be able to go if you do MMA, you want to be able to go 15 rounds. You want to go 15 minutes hard, as hard as you can. If you're doing it for 25 minutes, you want to be able to train for 25 minutes hard. And you want to go hard. You want to start fast and finish strong. I know that's probably a bad motto for a lot of people, but not for me. That's my motto. Start fast, finish strong. You want to start fast and put this guy on his back heels and never let up the pressure, and only get stronger from there. Get pissed off, you know. Say you've been training so hard for this, you want this more than the other guy, you know. That's how I did it in wrestling, you know. I trained harder than everybody. I wanted it more. I had more experience than everybody, and I was gonna be damned if I lost to anybody, and until I met somebody better than me, and then. But we're starting wrestling at 5 years old. Not too many people are better than wrestling me in the same age group, in the same weight class. So yeah. So I'm out. Peace. You guys have a great day. Train hard, and thank God for everything, because without God we wouldn't have everything that we have today. So yeah. Peace.